Good morning. I'd like to welcome you to the very first full show of I Love Babylon Unlimited. Daily, during the week, Monday to Friday show about things that are happening around and across the town of Babylon, including Amityville, Babylon, Copake, Deer Park, East Farmingdale, Fire Island, the islands of Gilgo, Oak Beach, and Captree, Lindenhurst, North Lindenhurst, North Babylon, North Amityville, all of the parts, the towns, the villages within the town of Babylon. Towns is technically, what we are in. That's the big umbrella. So then you have incorporated villages, which are Babylon, Amityville, and Lindenhurst. And then you have either census designated areas or hamlets like North Babylon, like West Babylon, like Wyandanch, like Wheatley Heights. So we're going to be talking about any kind of news that is in the town. This is not going to be a very formal broadcast. I used to do some very formal broadcasts about the events that are in the town of Babylon. What I'm looking for from us here is to be more of a, hey, good morning. Let's have a chit chat about what's going on in town. I will get into news. I will get into events, but hopefully the idea would be that we have some conversations here. If you want to, you can actually put something up on the comment and we will actually be able to talk to you and discuss it. But for the first part of the day, let's go into, let's see if I can get you guys up to see what I'm seeing on my screens right now. So let's see if we can get you guys up and see what I'm seeing on my screen. So, of course, this all came out of I Love Babylon Unlimited, which is a group we used to have just for updates. But when the COVID-19 situation hit, we decided, good morning, Wendy. We decided that we were going to have a conversation about what is happening in our town so that we could, figure out what's happening with COVID-19. Some of us more cynical people immediately thought that that kind of lockdown, being staying in our homes, meant that some of our freedoms might be impinged upon. And I have to tell you, we had no idea, right? So the situation was if we could keep one another informed right here within the town, that we could figure out exactly what's going on with that person, what's going on over there. Can we go over there to help? Is someone hungry? Is someone hurt? Can we go over there to help? Is there something we can do as a community so that our people here manage well through this situation, right? So we thought that there was going to be a lot of that happening. So we started this group and changed it to I Love Babylon Updates because it was I Love Babylon Events. And then later on, I said, you know what? We need to talk about everything that's going on. We've now got riots in our streets, protests and riots. And I want to talk about the differences about that later on. Good morning, Anthony. It's good to see you too. Great, great, fantastic. It's good to see people showing up, saying hi, saying good morning. Yeah, we're gonna talk about all the stuff that's happening in the town. I don't know if many of you know. Good morning, Mike. How are you? It's good to see you. Mike is old school, just so you know. Mike's been with I Love Babylon for a long time. Mike's been saying good morning to me, sending me cups of coffee for a long, long time. Big up Mike Marsala. Marsala means sauce, right? Got to be Italian, yes? All right, so here's the deal. Yesterday in North Babylon, the Phelps Lane pool started to sell the beach passes. And so, unfortunately, what you guys don't know is that North Babylon, in that particular part of the town, like it was ridiculous. Like nobody could drive over there. I think some people thought that enough beach passes were not going to be available for everyone. As it turns out, there is no shortage of beach passes. Nobody's ever going to stop selling. I know it's 50% capacity at the beaches, but there is no shortage of beach passes. All right. And you can go this weekend without having to get a pass. The first weekend you're going to be expected to have a pass is June 13th, which is next week, Saturday. So do not rush. You should get one. You should definitely get one. but you don't need to rush. You don't need to create a situation over there, because what happens is in the mornings and during the day, we we have. Good morning, Catherine. How are you doing? It's good to see you too. We have kids are still picking stuff up. There's COVID-19 programs that are going over there. Hey, look at that. What Wendy says, she was in and out really quickly. Yeah, generally, that's a fantastic system over there. They know what they're doing. They're in and out. You're just going to bring your license and registration, and I think it's $35 now. I think that's what it is. They reduced it. It used to be $50 because, quite frankly, good morning, Alex. Good to see you. Quite frankly, we're probably not going to have the pools, and if we do, it would be after we figure something out closer to the end of the summer because of the COVID-19 situation. Speaking of that, speaking of the COVID-19 situation, as it turns out, even today, this website that shows us the numbers, the Suffolk County NY COVID-19 cases, is still down. As of today, it has been down for about a week, 7 days. So I have not been able to provide you with numbers for COVID-19 in the group I Love Babylon Unlimited for a total of a week. It is not lost on me, and I'm sure it's not lost on many people, that the week we start to reopen, all of a sudden we can't get the data. I'm hoping that the information is over on the state website. I really decided, listen, I'm trusting them. They'll show up with it. But as it turns out, it's a whole thing. Wendy's saying that there's no cash and you must use debit cards only when you go to get your thing. Good morning, Alex. Good morning. Good to see you. So those numbers, I can't get them for you just yet. I can tell you that Nassau is continuing to provide numbers. So it's not like the numbers aren't being provided in some places. It just seems to be that Suffolk numbers are not being told. And I do know we have two major hotspots, one of them in the town of Babylon. But there's still nothing close to what's going on in Brooklyn. There's nothing close to what's going on in Queens. They have 20% COVID infection rate over there. We've got, I think the most we have is Wyandanch is somewhere in the region of 6%. And I think Brentwood might be somewhere in the region of 10 or 12% the last time I checked. Okay. So the truth is it's not as bad as it could be. So there is that. So we really don't have that information for you. I wish I had more information about that, but right now we do not. Okay, so taking a look, see what's here. Okay, great. So one of the things I did want to talk about is graduations. I feel bad for kids who want to have their graduations and cannot at this point in time because obviously the COVID-19 situation. So they're trying to make it so we're not singing on top of one another and spreading droplets. We are not we're not creating a situation where we're all getting the thing. Meanwhile, there's the dichotomy of that is you still have people out in the streets protesting, and we'll talk about that a little later and get into it. I'm just saying everybody who should be protesting right now should also be going to the trying to figure out what it is that whether or not their status of COVID-19 has changed, because you're out there all day doing that. I can't imagine you keep your face mask on the entire time. Please don't tell me that face masks don't work. They work, and so that is a situation we're supposed to be wearing, right? West Babylon is doing their best to actually have and see, I'm trying to do this in a way that we can all say, okay, here's the source of the information. If you want to go and read the whole article, you can, but Ryan is going to do this very quickly, go over the information. All right, so the Beacon is reporting that West Babylon is preparing for graduation even under the New York pause guidelines. I think the other school districts in our town are also looking at things that they can do, even though it's not going to be a full-on graduation. It's going to be something they've been talking about. They're discussing it. They're not sure exactly what they will be doing. Of course, right now they're asking for permission because obviously you don't want to go against the New York pause guidelines. Okay. I know for sure that people are looking forward to that. We have this. This is the West Babylon Chamber of Commerce is talking about what's going on there and is congratulating the class of 2020. I want to say across all town, not all kids, man. I'm so sorry. This is unlike anything that we've ever seen, and we are sorry. But I know you are resilient. I know you will figure this out. I know that we're now looking to you to do things in a different way for us. We're going to listen to you. I'm looking forward to the new generation coming up in this situation, but figuring out kind of like on The Walking Dead, there's this kid, Carl, and he grows up in a completely different way than most kids. And, the adults are all disturbed about them and oh, we feel so sorry that he's in this situation. And he's like, this is all I've ever known. It's not that big a deal. And you adopt. Young people adopt, and they will. And I'm looking forward to seeing the amazing things that you're doing right here on our computers, right here in our virtual lives, as well as the stuff that you will bring out into the real world in a different way because you've thought about this stuff. All right, that'll be excellent. Brumidi Lodge, a couple of events here. I'm going to talk about Brumidi Lodge. Oh, I don't know why this is not pulling up, but I'll tell you straight up. Brumidi Lodge is having a community feeding event. They are selling. Let's see. It's called the Community Meals to Go. Oh, that's not what's supposed to be coming up there. Look, Amazon follows you everywhere, right? Guess what Ryan's been looking to purchase on Amazon. Yeah, so in the Deer Park, North Babylon patch, they are reporting they're mentioning the Brumidi Lodge hosting meals to go, and this is on Friday. So if you don't want to buy dinner on Friday, they will be doing that. Can you imagine? Brumidi Lodge has been sitting there doing events. That's a lot of their revenue. They write to me all the time. They used to put events on the ilovebabylon.com websites all the time about the events that they're doing. So I knew that that was a major part of the money that they made. How do they even pay their mortgage? How do they pay whatever they pay or their people? They actually probably were out of business for quite some time because they can't do what they normally do. So there's an outreach meals to go. It's on June 5 on Friday. And you can enjoy enjoy a choice of two home cooked meals, rigatoni pasta or sausage, peppers, and onions. It's $8 a meal, or two for $15. Guys, if you go there and they are giving you this meal for $8, please give them $10. Please, if you buy two, give them $30. Give them $20. Come on, $8. And I understand whatever you're trying to do is just encourage people to come back out but people, they need more than that. It's clear that they would need more than that. So I know that is happening. I want to talk to you about the Babylon Breast Cancer Coalition bingo. I know that's happening on Friday, and yours truly will probably be the person calling bingo. We'll see. We're having conversations about that right now. And it would be supported and promoted and sponsored by LongIslandsGreatest.com. Right? Long Island protesters. So we've had that conversation, right? Let's have a little bit more of that conversation. Yesterday, my first show was overshadowed by that. I was hoping that we would have this conversation a little bit later, but I was honestly a little bit touched by some of the situations that we saw out there. Good morning, Rochelle. How are you doing? It's good to see you. Blessings to you. Blessings to you and your family. Blessings to all of you, Babylon. So the conversation that we've been having is, there are protests here on Long Island as well as all around the world at this point. I don't know if you know that. We're not just having these protests in New York City. We're not just having these protests in cities across or in Minneapolis across the United States. We're having these protests all over the world. London, Brussels. It's all over. People are talking about the fact that there is inequity being dealt to people of color. and so they are standing up behind, and that's it's very important. It's interesting. It's not something I completely expected, especially the worldwide. I was really surprised about that. Good morning, Rachel. It's good to see you. I was surprised by that, but it's also great. So some of the great pictures that we've been seeing, great things that we've been seeing are police kneeling with the protesters. We see people actually saying, okay, we understand. And yet we have some other people who don't necessarily understand what's going on. I saw, you know, some people putting up their encoded messages. They think they're coded messages. I saw someone putting up uh, the Trojan hat with Molan Labe underneath it, which means come and take them. And that means, there's been rioting, there's been protests, there's been rioting, there's been looting. And the truth is, rioting and looting should not be happening. Okay? But I need you to understand that protest must be something that inconveniences the general public or makes them feel uncomfortable in order for something to happen. Let me see if I can explain this. I'm not telling you that rioting is good or looting is okay, but there are people who are saying you're laying in the street or you're blocking the street, and that inconveniences me. That's the point of protest. You are to be inconvenienced. You're to hear loud noise. You're to do something because your life has been interrupted. And I'm originally from Jamaica. I came to New York when I was 19. I lived in I lived in the Midwest before this. Um, I came to New York when I was 19. So what I saw in Jamaica is the way and by the way, they learned this from you Americans, us Americans, because now I'm a Jamaican, right? Um, in Jamaica, we don't even say protest. We say block road. What does that mean? Block road. They literally would go out and take large trunks of trees and tires and whatever and put them in the middle of the road and block the biggest road that goes through their town so that other people are inconvenienced. What happens? So you're driving along, you're doing your thing, then block road in Porus. Porus is a major city for driving through, right? So block the road in Porus means everybody who's working in Kingston and going to Spanish Town or wherever it is to go to work, they are now inconvenienced. What happens? They call the police. The police calls the MP, the Minister of Parliament, or the person who's responsible for that area, and they say, "Oh, the people block the road." And then he comes and says, "What? Why are you guys blocking the road?" And then they say, "Oh, we haven't had water for 3 days." Or we haven't had electricity for a week. And he said, "Oh, why nobody saying anything about this? Somebody should have told me." Well, we thought we called you MP and nobody heard us. And so now the situation gets changed. It gets fixed. That is the best analogy that I can explain. They want to lie in the road. They want to stop the road. They want to break because they have to inconvenience you and make you uncomfortable so that us as a greater group of people can decide we don't want that. So can we fix them in their situation? And it's gotten to the point where people are literally saying, I can't breathe. And that is why they're asking you to do something. Okay? Uh, uh, I'm not I'm not condoning looting or rioting, but protest that's quiet and just taking a knee or quiet and just talking clearly doesn't work. You have to make the rest of the public uncomfortable so that all of the public can be comfortable. Right? That's what it is. What can you do? Show your support. You can do something here on Facebook or whatever you want. Show your support. That's fine. Forget your friends who are going to complain about it because they don't understand. Fine. Show your support. Request change. Request it of your local government. requested of your governor, requested of your president. Go to the polls and vote in that regard. You can do that as well. And request a change in policies that make life unequal for your fellow Americans. It's very simple. Two, demand accountability, have them punish misconduct when it exists, and remove individuals permanently if they show a pattern of misconduct. That I don't think that that's something that none of us can do. I think any of us can do any of those things. I'm just checking to make sure I haven't left anything out. Yeah, that's all. And call your black friends, call your brown friends, say hello. What's going on? How are you doing? Like I said, this should be just one of those things where we have a good morning, have a little cup of coffee together, that sort of thing. This is my daughter. On the, let me see. Let me show you. It's an old picture, but this came from North Babylon schools. Love that. Love that. Mm. So, how are we doing? Anybody want to have a conversation? Anybody want to say hello? How are you? Okay, great. Good morning, Lisa. You are very welcome. You're very welcome. All right, so that's basically it, guys. We've talked about the beach passes. We've talked about Brumidi Lodge. We've talked about Babylon Breast Cancer Coalition. It happens on 7 o'clock. Oh, so if you do go and get your beach passes, that opens at 1 p.m. You are only allowed to start parking there or lining up there at 12:30 p.m. because we had such a huge turnout this weekend and this yesterday because a lot of people thought that there was a situation. Hey, Rachel, how are you doing? I love you too. I love you too. Oh, I got so much love. I have so much love for you. You have no idea. Let's see. What else do we have here? What else is in the news? Oh man, this is tough to talk about. And I'm not going to leave it on this because this is tough. But they have Gilgo is a part of the town of Babylon. I don't know if you guys know that. But yeah, we've got these islands: Gilgo, Oak Beach, Captree, and of course parts of Fire Island. And this young woman was identified in the Gilgo Beach killings. Now that they know who she is, these things are slowly breaking. Like this is a situation, and I think they want to just say, "Listen, this didn't have to happen, and we wish it didn't." And so again, people saying, can we take care of these people? Can we make sure that we don't, harm women? Women too. It's tough. I understand. A lot of times you go after an occupying army goes after the men. Yeah, that's what happens. They go after the men that they want to take down if they want to convert or destroy a civilization. But in this case, clearly, someone did not care about this woman's life. I understand she was an escort. I understand she was probably no angel, but that whole situation in Gilgo is really rough. All right, guys. So if you don't know, here's what's happening in the I Love Babylon Unlimited group. And you just go groups and type in I Love Babylon Unlimited if you're looking for it. You can find in here the Parks and Recreation map. This is our map that basically shows you everything that's happening. Well, not everything that's happening, but all the places you can go in the town of Babylon. I think you'll enjoy that. Here is the Beach Pass update that we just talked about. Okay. You only need it for Saturday, June 13th. Okay. And there's some information here. Here's some stuff about Lindenhurst News, Dr. Senior, the peaceful and safe protest that we had yesterday next door in West Islip. And a big shout out to Brandon. Brandon, I saw you. I saw you, bro. All right. Mark is selling Mark's Mark's selling some baby prams, as we would say in Jamaica. But yeah, it's probably better to put it. And yeah, Diane, I'm sorry, there are no COVID updates. That's basically what it is. So, ladies and gentlemen, I want to say thank you so very much for hanging out with me for the very first episode of I Love Babylon Unlimited. I am Ryan O'Neill Williams, and hopefully I'll get to see you very soon again. we'll probably do this every day that I am home until they actually let us back out to work. Again, I love you, Babylon, and you have an excellent